Good day everyone, my name is Wei Hong. I'm second year architecture student from UTM. In this video, I'm going to present to you about my second project in the first semester, where we are requested to design a community center. For this project, my site is located at UTM Innovation Park. As you can see from the location plan and the key plan, the site is located at the edge of the UTM campus and is at the roadside as well. On the site, there are two main elements that I had taken into consideration while designing the building. The first one is its location in UTM Innovation Park with the Innovation and Commercialization Center at the site. With this, the building typology is fixed as a science center with the main purpose to ease the exhibition of the outcomes from the R&D activities, and also a place to initiate discussion and interaction of UTM Innovation Park officials with the visitors and also the students. For the second element is the abundance of trees at the back, the forest. Since the site is in a city, so a large area of greenery is quite rare. So this building will appreciate it by responding to it. Coming to my design concept is never forget your root, where the meaning of the root here is not only the origin but also the first intention when you decided to do something. It's just like the seed, when it's decided to stay, it will grow its roots. And they try to relate the building design with UTM culture as well as the site context through a quote from the Greek tragedian, "From a small seed, a mighty trunk may grow." In this context, UTM is like the seed, where UTM Innovation Park is their decision to carry out R&D activity and contribute to the society, also known as the root. And then with continuous effort and hard work in seeking and doing the R&D, a mighty tree may grow, metaphorizing the considerable result from the R&D. In order to achieve this design concept, I have done some study on two buildings. The first one is the Postal Museum in Japan, and the second one is SBEA in Vietnam. For the Postal Museum, its design is metaphorizing the characteristic of tree, where the void timber blocks are made from timber sticks and are used to build its wall, creating a layering effect as in the forest. For the second building, SBEA, it's actually metaphorizing an image of two rocky mountains with a river running at the middle, also forest on the mountain, by designing a zigzagging stone walls, outdoor pools, and bringing in greenery into the building. To develop my design, the layering properties of trees is being taken, and the form of the tree is being developed and simplified into a tree-like structure as shown, where the tree-like structure is a small canopy and it will function as a big roof when multiple of them are being placed, layered and connected together, and with some transparent gap in between. Here is one of my conceptual sketch to visualize the big roof formed by a small canopy, which metaphorizing the penetration of light in the forest. Coming to the ground floor plan, there are two entrances at both sides of the building. The first one here is mainly for the pedestrian from the main road, and the second one here is for the vehicle and drop-off. Entering the building is the foyer, and the foyer is directly connected to the exhibition area, where the exhibition area is the core of the building to encourage the visitor to look at the exhibits. Going to the left of the exhibition area, people were first able to access to the toilet, and then next is the cafe. And then from the cafe, there's a door going to the outside to the outdoor dining. Also from the exhibition area, going to the right, people can access to the multipurpose hall. Going up, people are able to access to the storeroom and then also the stair. The multipurpose hall here is mainly for the presentation of the outcomes from the R&D activities, while the storeroom here, there's a door open to the outdoor, mainly for the loading and unloading purpose. Going up the stair will be the first floor. The first space is a common area. From the common area, people are able to reach prayers room and also the meditation space, and all these spaces are actually facing to the forest, as these spaces require serenity. And then at the center here is the co-working area. There are three types of spaces. Through this corridor, people are able to reach the toilet of the first floor, and then the management office, rest and lookout space, and then lastly the terrace. The terrace is actually also accessible from the outdoor of the ground floor. From the drop-off area, there's a stair going up to the terrace. This is the stabilization of the spaces, where all the spaces will be naturally ventilated except for the multipurpose hall. This is an exterior perspective of my building from the main entrance, also the drop-off area. Semi-shaded canopy is being designed to create smooth transition from the outside to the inside of the building. Next is the elevation and section. The first one is the southeast elevation, and the second is the section YY. The section YY is actually cut at the southeast elevation, and from these two drawings you can see the cafe is actually located closest to the main road and also the another road going into the Innovation Park, and this will enable the visitor inside the cafe to enjoy the surrounding view as well as to interact with the passerby. Regarding the material of the ground floor, it will be using exposed brick wall with timber column in between, while the wall on the first floor will be using timber. As for the roof covering, there's two types of material will be used. The first one is the standing seam metal for the tree-like structure, and then the second one will be the glass for the gap in between the tree-like structure. Regarding the building massing, the development is started with a cuboid block, and the form of the building is being cascaded in the plan view as approaching the corner of the site, and this form will allow the people inside the building to interact with the passerby of the main road. Next, the form of the building is being cascaded in height from the elevation as to bring the height of the forest down to the human level and create a sense of approachable instead of stress and unknown. And then for all the spaces, the roof are being cantilevered as to block the sunlight. Lastly, the first floor with more private spaces are being located far away from the main road as to minimize the noise and glare from the main road. And then the form of the building at the center here is being elevated as to block the sunlight too. As you can see in the southwest elevation and the XX section, the height of the building is actually cascaded from the forest and as it approaches to the road. And then in the section XX, this area on the left will be the storeroom. So for the space here in between the forest and the storeroom will be service area. All the loading and unloading will be done here through the door of the storeroom. This is the bird's eye view of my building. As you can see from here is the layering of the roof from the highest point closest to the forest, getting lower and lower as it approaches to the road. The tree-like structure is also continued from the building to the outdoor dining area, acting as a canopy for the dining area, blending with the landscape. Section perspective, the typical section is taken from the co-working space, and as mentioned just now, the roof covering will be standing seam metal, glass sheet, and silicone will be used to seal up the connection point between the roof covering and the roof structure. And the roof structure will be made of timber, and this will be the roof beam, and all this will be the roof joists. And then each canopy of the roof will having a 2 degree of slope to allow the discharge of water and gutter at the end of all the roof layers. Moving on is the timber wall. On the top part of the timber wall will be the louvers, and then followed by a glass panel. At the middle will be the window to promote ventilation. And then lastly, the timber wall structure will be having 2 components. The first one, the core, is the studs with the timber plank attached on both sides. For the timber floor, the finishing used will be timber plank, and below the timber plank will be the insulation layer to reduce the noise, and timber plank are being supported by floor joists being supported by floor beam, and then floor beam being supported by timber column. As for the solid floor, it started with the spread footing, and both the spread footing will be hardcore, then layers of sand blinding, then proof membrane, reinforcement mesh to reinforce the concrete slab, smooth skid, and then finally the timber floor finishing. Regarding the construction of the tree-like structure, timber joinery will be used, and as labeled, the first one here will be the door mortise and tendon, and the timber structure will be inserted into the column and being locked by the doors. For second is the wedge mortise and tendon. This will be used to join the end-to-end connection of 2 timber pieces. The third one here will be chidori joint, and it's being used to join the interlocking of 3 pieces of timber at one point. The fourth will be the halving joint to join the interlocking of 2 timber. Lastly is the 3-way leg joint for the halving joint to place above an end of the timber piece. Last but not least is the interior perspective of the building. The first one here is the multi-purpose hall, able to accommodate 32 packs. The second one here is the exhibition area, where the exhibition blocks are being inspired from the roots. It's like roots holding all the blocks, and this is to show the importance of the exhibition area, as the root is the most important part of the tree. So using root as a inspiration is symbolizing this space is very important. The last one here will be the cafe, and that's all for my presentation. Thank you.